I'm Jim Ross. He's Matt Van Horn. And this is the 3 Mile Domination Podcast.
Okay, Matt. Here we go. We'll do another installment of the 3 Mile Domination Podcast. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Good. Keeping busy as always, but that's a good thing. Well, I was thinking this week, I think it'd be a good thing if we talked about customer lifetime value, how that pertains to self-storage industry. I have a feeling of, I had a question an owner or a manager and put them on the spot and ask them what their customer lifetime value is. I think you'd probably get a lot of blank stares coming back at you. They don't really know that figure off the top of their head.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree with you. It's one of those things that now our industry is much more in tune with. I think for years and years and years, we've all heard this where, we basically built a self-storage facility, stuck a manager behind the desk, turned a phone on, and waited for the people to come with us. We marketed a little bit. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce, those kind of things. We did a small little referral program, but we really, really did not have the marketing budgets then as we do now, or that we're really dependent on now. You can see a lot of consolidation in the market where the REITs have only gotten bigger, and when I say REIT, I mean public space, public storage, extra space, Sovereign, any of the big ones. Whereas this is now a business. Wall Street has taken an interest in our industry. We are now considered to be one of the main drivers of real estate investment in this country. So all of these things are going to get we're going to get more in tune with what they are. Basically, your customer lifetime value is what is your individual tenant or customer or potential customer worth to you. So you would say, basically you want to know how long they stay, what is their average stay versus their average rent. So this is how you can calculate whether your marketing programs are giving you a return on your investment. So basically what you'd want to do in this situation is just go to your rent roll in your self-storage management program. If the rent roll will allow you to export to Excel, this is even better. If not, then you can do this by hand as well. Basically what you want to do is just take an average of the time that all of your customers have been at your property. So you'd want to go from the highest to the lowest and just average that number out, which will give you the average number of days that your customer has been at your property. And it's very simple just to take that. And then, what you want to look at is that there is a number of customers that have been there a really, really long time, or a number of customers that have only been there a few days. So typically when I do this exercise, I'll take the top 10 or 15 on both sides of the spectrum and just cut them out so you can get a more accurate number. And then once you average that out, you get your average stay for your customer base. So you know how long they're going to stay on a day wise, and then you can divide that by 30 to get it on a monthly rate.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to kind of reiterate that point as with your sample size. If you can export Excel, it makes life so much easier. But when you have those sites, you want to take away the extremes. And you mentioned 10 to 15%. I use 10%. I take away the lowest 10% occupancy in days, and I take away the highest 10% in occupancy. So you get rid of those extremes. It really helps you out, really get to that average stay. I don't want to gloss over that part of that calculation. That's really important to keep in mind.
And absolutely, you have to remember it is an average, and it's going to be a ballpark. But it's going to be a very, very close ballpark to what your property is actually doing. And then you basically want to move from that into your average rent, which would just be your potential rent divided by the number of units you have, which would give you your average rental rate. And then just multiply the two, and then now you know what each customer is worth to you on a dollar amount.
Yeah, exactly. And when I've done this exact same exercise, and really it only takes a matter of a few minutes. And for just those few minutes, what that figure gleans is it's amazing that you can kind of see that light bulb go off in the manager or the owner's head of, wow, every time that phone's ringing, that's how much potential money, is on the other line. And once they kind of make that connection, it just makes everything else so much easier as far as potential marketing, what you might be putting your marketing dollars behind, because you can justify it. You know, if you're going to be making an average lifetime value of $2,000 off that customer, you're willing to spend a few bucks to get that phone to ring. And so, yeah, I really can't stress the importance enough of really understanding this customer lifetime value, because really everything else revolves around that figure.
Absolutely. And then the next step would be is if you're a manager and you're looking at that number, that's what it's worth to you right now. If you're an owner or an investor, take that number, that final number, and divide it by a cap rate on whatever you think your facility's worth, whether it's a Class A, B, C, D facility. Divide that by a cap rate. Now that number exponentially grows. And now you can see which each potential customer is worth to you on an ownership level, to where if you were to sell your property, that's their value. So, you know, it goes from maybe on a site level being $1,000 or $2,000 to all of a sudden when you want to sell your property, those individual phone calls are worth $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So you really want to look at that
aspect. And I know for a fact most managers don't really even at all think about that potential effect of, you know, looking to sell a site and how those little changes can make such a huge difference. So I really think in a later podcast, maybe sooner or later, that's a great topic we can really discuss in further detail as how it affects on cap rates.
Absolutely. Most of our managers, we'll touch on this very quickly, but most of our self-storage managers, and this is not a knock on anyone, it just really comes down to experience, don't have any formal financial education. And what I mean by that is there's no understanding of how self-storage facilities are evaluated. There's no understanding of what goes in and out of a P&L, a balance sheet, a general ledger, those kinds of things. And again, that's not a knock on anyone. That's just a lack of general financial education that we have in our society and then also in our businesses. It's not something we typically teach. If you're an owner, sure, you're worried about that, but you don't technically always convey that same knowledge to your managers on the site.
No, exactly. That's so important. So I think for our website, I think it'd be a great idea that we can, you know, tell the listeners to come to our website. We'll have some tools there that will really break this down for you. Very easy thing to put your customer lifetime value in there, put some figures, and there you go. You know, go get your amount there. And I think we should even take it a step further. We can implement some cap rate calculations in there and really hit it home on how it affects the overall value of your site.
Absolutely, and if you do visit our site and you download our free ebook, 3 Mile Domination, the actual physical calculations, I believe, are in there right now. So you could actually do this yourself on an Excel spreadsheet if you wanted to, or use our website and we can calculate it for you.
No, perfect. No, I'm excited. I think it's a great step in the right direction for everyone to really kind of understand how everything is working together with these figures and how it works with the value of your property there. So, no, we're on the right track here. I think with this podcast and 3 Mile Domination in general. Just really, again, it's not rocket science a lot of this, but it's just really understanding how everything works together when that phone's ringing and bringing the money to your site and get the right marketing behind it. You know, everybody wins. So again, we'll be hitting lots of topics in these podcasts. We'll be getting these out definitely on a regular basis. Do you have anything more to add on the customer lifetime value?
No, I think just in one of the future podcasts, we'll discuss how that relates to your marketing budget and how you can tell if certain marketing programs are working or not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this, again, that's why we wanted to hit this. This is going to tie into many, many things we'll be talking about in the weeks to come. So we wanted to make sure we got this out so everyone can understand what it is and, of course, how to calculate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we will chat next time. I'll talk to you next week.
Excellent. Sounds great. Have a great week.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the 3 Mile Domination podcast. Please check us out at our website, 3miledomination.com, where you can download our free ebook, connect with us on all the social media platforms, and to subscribe to this podcast. Please spread the word to those you think that will benefit from this show. Just don't tell your competitors. Thanks again. Thanks for listening to the 3 Mile Domination podcast. Please check us out at our website, 3miledomination.com, where you can download our free ebook, connect with us on all the social media platforms, and to subscribe to this podcast. Please spread the word to those you think that will benefit from this show. Just don't tell your competitors. Thanks again.